welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of The Untold. We're going to know more about our guests, especially when it comes into their journey, their beginning, and of course, towards where they reach through their career. In today's episode, we're going to have a video gamer, and he is also a comic writer and also a movie writer and a maker. So we can say that he has very great achievements, and I'm very sure his audience are really eager to know more about him. So we're going to have our guest, Mohammed AlMuneer. So stay tuned with us. And really happy to welcome our guest in today's episode. Talking with him is something very going to be, let's say, exciting, new, and I'm very sure lots of fans are really eager to know more about. So really happy to welcome with us our guest, Mohammed Nasser AlMuneer. We're really happy to have you here.
So happy to accept the invitation in Kuwait TV, and I will thanks everyone for inviting me and supporting me in Kuwait TV studio.
So, talking more about your, let's say, career, and you do and deal with lots of great things, and I'm very sure, especially the audience, are really eager to know more about them. But let's talk more about the beginning. Like, where did you find your, let's say, when did you find yourself in creating, let's say, comics and dealing with all of these great achievements that you managed to do? Like, what was the beginning for you?
Uh, First, I was in UK, Brighton, in English school. They gave us a homework like 10 pages. I have to make any story. Everyone wrote about horror things and comedy things or based on movies like Mamma Mia story, something like
Yeah.
this. So I chose a horror things by my idea. I like horror, like serial killer or
Hmm.
ghost, same time. So I wrote as a horror comic book
Okay.
and script, and then I got a call from the director of the school. I'm scared to be honest because Arabic guy who wrote a horror it means something
Hmm.
in
Yes.
Europe country. So she told me, how about you continue write this book as a novel, and then take a master class. There's a website. It's called Master Class. There's a guy who his name R. Stein who made Goosebumps series.
Yeah.
So I learned from him and online, and then she told me like I have a plan for you. We're gonna release the book as a novel. We're gonna share it 100 copy only.
Hmm.
So we have 2 weeks. If 2 weeks the books has out of stock, we will get the payment for us because we will publish
Yes.
by their side.
Hmm.
But if not, we'll give you the payment.
Hmm.
So I'm shocked. Next day, she called me in the morning. She said, "Come today. Don't come to school. We need you. It's an important thing." And then I saw a lot of lines, people like waiting for someone. I don't know who. So they told me, "Yeah, you have to sit in the table. You have to sign."
Hmm.
To be honest, I'm scared because I'm not a lot meeting with the people,
Yes.
and yeah. So I even I don't know how to sign
Yes,
in
that's the
English.
thing.
Yeah,
Like signing is something even bigger. Yeah,
yeah,
dealing with the people and audience. Yeah.
yeah. So I signed the first initial sign for first book. I don't know how to sign. I just write Muhammad in Arabic,
Yes.
and I put smiley face.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well,
And
that's
then
a really quite, let's say, unique signature, to be honest. Like writing your name in a smiley face. Yeah.
yeah. So one day I took 2 copies. I put it in train station. Like I keep it there. I
Hmm.
wrote like, please don't take it. Keep it in the train. Like the book, keep it in the train.
Hmm.
So
So
yeah.
reading it through the journey of the train for the person who actually, let's say, ride the train, right?
Yeah,
Uh huh.
I learned from marketing. It's
Uh
the
huh.
same thing.
Yeah.
So one day, like some magazine, they say we saw your book, and then we saw your Instagram through the book, and we like it, and would you like to make a comic book? So I told him, yeah, I'm trying to make a comic book. I contact a freelancer who work in Batman. He's an artist. He was I think he draw like Batman Year One.
Hmm.
So I told him, is it okay to work with each other? Like, I want to make a
Collaboration.
collaboration based on the novel. He said, yeah, it's okay, but yeah. And then I made it as a graphic novel, and hopefully they like it.
Yeah, so it's really quite interesting journey that you actually had, starting from the beginning, not thinking that you could reach towards the point where you are at now. Dealing with lots of people at the beginning must be very, let's say, tempting, amazing, shocking, and also at the same time terrifying. Because
Yeah.
though you write, let's say, horror, terrifying stories, but yet again, there are different kind of, let's say, people who are really into it, and having that said is something very great and something very beautiful to be said. So when it comes into that, like say talking more about the development that faced you during your career. So you start by, let's say, creating a book, and then you moved on towards, as we've seen and we've heard, that you have, let's say, dealing with video games, dealing with movies. Like when, what came after, let's say, creating book and comics?
Before I wrote the comic, my dream to become like a video game director or developer like this. But some companies they say you have to create a CV. If you don't have a CV, we can't. Yeah, we can't help you. And then they said to me like some people they do comic books. You can try a comic, and then maybe one day you're gonna be success, and then some company will hire you by LinkedIn website.
Yes. So this is what actually happened, where you actually find yourself within the path itself. So was it something challenging that faced you dealing with that? Because I'm very sure, as a person who has a dream, you always, let's say, we always dream big, and then we start achieving. Slowly until we reach towards the position that we are at. So tell us about that. Like, did it actually happen easily, or it was difficult? Let's say you found yourself, let's say, within many kind of obstacles, like the things that you find in your horror, let's say, stories. So many things that actually happen.
Actually, it depends on sometimes. Sometimes, yeah, if you overthink of the project, you will lose everything. If you stopped the project like for 1 month, you will forget the project. So it depends on the balance. And sometimes, if you get bored, yeah, you will overthink, and then it's gonna be the creation is easily to work
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
So when it comes into that, dealing with motivation is something very important. Being creative is something even greater. But in order for you to achieve greatness, you have to be motivated and also be creative.
I agree.
So is it something easy to, let's say, be motivated and also creative at the same time? Tell us more about that.
It depends if you take this job like as an hobby, it's gonna be easy. If as a habit, it's not because a habit like I do something I do it like every time. This is a habit, but as a hobby, yeah, you will enjoy working on it.
So the most important thing for you is to not make your job as something, let's say, it's something that you actually do, but it's more of a hobby and a passion that you
Yeah.
like to do. So tell us more about video games and the things that you actually created so far.
The video game I have Run Through Realms as a runner game, similar to Temple Run, and similar to there's a game called The Throne based on the movie. Yeah, and each chapter has a different story. Like we talk about a pirate chapter, we make fun of Pirate of the Caribbean. We call it Too Much Water. Or The Walking Dead, we call it The Walking Bed.
Walking Bed, okay.
Yeah, we just make a fun.
Changing the concept itself and to make it more funny in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny and cartoonish
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, and simple game for everyone.
So, what made you actually, let's say, think about that kind of, let's say, concept entering the video game world? Since you said in the beginning it was something that you really wanted to do, but yet again, these kind of, let's say, conceptions of, let's say, having certain ideas and then changing them into something funny and something that everyone could actually enjoy playing the game itself. Like, what made you think about that?
I don't know. It's just happened like this as a hobby. Like I have another teacher who work on programming. I told him, how about we make a video game? We are like our hobby to play a video game every
Right.
time. Yeah, pre-ordering the game, or sometimes some companies send us exclusive game to try it and review it.
Yes. So it's very amazing to see I hear the word teacher a lot. So I
Yeah.
can see that one of the things that supported you during your career and even gave you that kind of support is having a great teacher. So supporters are very important,
Of course.
whether they're from family members, whether they're from, as you said, school, society, and so on. How effective today in your career is that support, and how important is having that support, let's say, alongside to the road itself?
Uh, the good words it support me. Like yeah, go ahead, or it's good. Yeah, that it support me more than like people pushing. Yeah, do this. We need you to do as a homework. Yeah, I like people like they give me motivation. Like
Yes,
to
motivation when it comes
motivate.
into
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah. So, dealing with video games and dealing with comic is something, let's say, different? Do you see them, let's say, different, or do you feel that they complete each other?
They
Is it easy, let's say, for a person to develop a video game and, let's say, a scenario and strategies for it, or is it something easier to deal with comics?
No, it's both the same. Sometimes the video games, like they do a video game story mode, and then they continue as a comic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of games like, for example, Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
They released online game,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't have a story, so they continue it as a comic book, a story.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to learn about the story about this game, you need to read the comics,
Mm-hmm.
each chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, let's say, depending on each story, each comic, and even the fans. It's very important to have a fan, to have a base of a fan, in order for you to write comics and also create video games. So tell us more about the feedback of the audience that you're dealing with, the people that reads your comics, the people that actually play the game itself.
I didn't release the game yet, Run Through Realms, but I give a demo version. People they like it. For people who love a mobile phone, simple
Mm-hmm.
things. Yeah, let's call it relaxing game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more and or funny game. People, yeah, they told us like, how about to do this character like he look like
Modify it more. Yeah.
or yeah, he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How about to make him like walking like a crazy man?
Mm-hmm.
Much better than yeah. They give us a feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So feedback is very important
yeah, of
to
course.
have a review about the things that could actually happen during the game itself, and what to develop and what to leave and what to adjust, like talking more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very importantly is to always, let's say, not stop when it comes into inspiration, and not stop when it comes into different obstacles, as you just said and mentioned, during your career itself. So for you and within this journey, talking more about, let's say, the release and the work that you're doing, I'm very sure it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, dealing with different kind of people, what to do, what not to do, what happens to the character, and so on. So do tell us about behind the scenes when it comes into that. Like, who do you work with, and who do you always like to go and refer to? Like, is this great? Should I, let's say, adjust more?
As long as the guy understood me, I work with him. Yeah, because this is a project, and sometimes I hire freelancers from Indonesia or Asia, yeah, or sometimes in
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to understand the project, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will not look at him like I will tell him like, listen, this is a novel.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I see his creation. Sometimes I give him like feedback, like change the character, this is better and that's better. Now we have a comic. It's called A Quiet Place, based on movie,
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood movie. It's gonna set on Failaka Island. We call it
So it's a horror.
yeah,
It's terrifying.
of course, yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna go to Velak Island again. Okay.
Yeah, it's based on movie, Hollywood movie. Now
Mm-hmm.
we are in discussion, like
Mm-hmm.
if they agree to give us a green light, we can make it,
Mm-hmm.
go forward.
Mm-hmm.
But still, we are waiting. We have the cover in Felek Island, and we call it A Quiet Place, Ghost Island, because Felek Island, they have folklore. My mom from Felek,
Yeah, yeah.
they said there's a lot of ghosts in there.
Yeah, this
It's
is the
abandoned.
folklore that everyone goes, and you have to walk at night in Velak Island in order for you to see ghosts. But I mean, and the concept itself is very beautiful to see that you're actually
Thanks.
connecting Kuwait, the country itself, to your comics, to your new future ideas, and many, many more. And I'm very sure our audience are really eager to know more about. But we're going to head to this first break, and then we'll be back. And we're back, dear viewers, with our guest. So one of the great things that you managed to do is having more of, let's say, a comic release that's called E-Legends. It's more of a
E-Legend.
series, yes.
Yeah.
So do tell us more about the story itself. What was, let's say, made behind it, or the behind story about it? Yeah.
Yeah, A-Legend is based on half of true story and half it's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the teachers. Some main characters. It's a new teacher, librarian teacher like me. He met a new teachers. They are gamers. Yeah,
Okay.
and his father like gravely ill. He need to collect payment to, yeah, he make surgery for his father. So one day his head teacher, he said like to him, How about we go to play some games? It's called Rainbow Six Siege
Mm-hmm.
esport. They give us a big payment, and then you can help your father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Wow.
surviving story.
Mm-hmm.
It's free to read for everyone.
Wow, and it's really amazing to see that that kind of, let's say, sense, because we do have, as they say, comics are really connected to people, especially for the audience and fans. It's something easy that you could read and you can enjoy at the same time. It's lots of illustration and yet again, lots of great expression. To me, I've always seen comics as a way of, let's say, presenting expressions and dealing with characters is something very important because you get attached to easily.
Yeah.
So when it comes into having e-legends and talking more about the characters, narration, and so on, let's say, tell us more about the inspiration behind it. Like when you chose each different character, was it based on, let's say, someone you knew, something that's related, let's say, to real life, or something that was based on imagination itself?
It's based on imagination and it's based on our works.
Hmm.
I met a lot of teachers. Yeah, and we became more than friends, like
Right.
brothers. Yeah, sometimes we go to Comic Con,
Hmm.
travel together to see latest video game there, and
Hmm.
we play, we try. Some companies they're inviting us, like yeah, you have to try this game and tell us how about it.
Yeah.
They like to get to take feedback from our
Yes.
and yeah, like it's based on real. And I brought like two female characters. I
Hmm.
just want to tell people like females can play video games too, not only
Hmm.
male.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And having that said, I mean, we have that kind of awareness that women are actually rising and presenting themselves through, let's say, works, books, comics, games, and many great competitions they're managing to
I
accomplish
agree.
with great deals. And we've seen them in the Untold, and something very beautiful to be presented in a way. I think the word is shy. They feel shy in appearing and presenting themselves because, as you just said, dealing with an audience and dealing with people is something very challenging.
Agree.
But you really do manage to do it very well, being here with us today and
Thank you so
presenting
much.
yourself to the
Thank you
audience.
so much.
So I'm very sure when it comes into creating comics, face challenges,
Of
face
course.
difficulties. You're dealing with illustrators, not only from, let's say, here, but you're dealing from people abroad. So
Agree.
having that kind of communication with them, tell us more about it. Like, is it easy to connect to an illustrator and dealing with the comic field itself?
It depends on the artist because sometimes the artist being moody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like every time like I'm tired. As long as he get the full payment for the project, he will say later.
Yeah.
Later. Yeah, I. So my advice, if you want to work a project, give him half of the payment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as he work.
Okay.
Yeah, because some artists like now I'm making an ad for my nephew. He have a gym, and I'm waiting for the artist. I give him full payment and more than 1 month for less than one 1 minute
Okay.
video. Yeah.
So, a great an advice for the audience. If you want an illustrator to finish his job, give him half payment.
No, it depends. Even artists.
Hmm.
I'm talking about general, like
Yeah.
freelancer,
Yes.
for example. Yeah.
And this is something very important to keep
Yeah.
in mind is that to always, let's say, gain from our own experience and deal with the things that we actually face during our life. And you know, it's a journey,
Yeah.
and it's something that you face, and hopefully, let's say, we'll learn out of it. But when it comes into, let's say, dealing with all of that, I'm very sure. Let's say you have the support and you have great, of course, people that surround you, and you have the feedback of the fans itself. But if you want to know more about talking about Shutter Rainbow that you just mentioned,
Yeah. Shutter
tell
Rainbow.
us more about it in detail, like about all of the specific things that inspired you when it comes into creating it and presenting it.
As I said, like I'm big fan of the games called Rainbow Six Siege, based on Tom Clancy. He's a military author. He passed away a long time.
Mhm.
So he made a video game. It's called Rainbow Six Siege. So Shattered Rainbow is talking like yeah. I just found the name like Shattered and Rainbow and combined them. It's based on yeah A Legend series. It's the
Yes.
same comics.
It's
Yeah.
so it's the same comics and
Yeah,
relating to it itself.
yeah,
Yeah.
because E-Legends, it's a series. Each chapter will talk about different game. Like
Hmm.
chapter 2, we are working on it. We're gonna talk about Counter-Strike or Call of Duty.
Hmm.
Yeah, any game related for esport,
Hmm.
Overwatch maybe. Who
Hmm.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah. So, being, let's say, a comic writer, I'm very sure that you have your own comics that you like to read.
Yeah.
You have, let's say, one of your idols, for instance, that you always look up for their great work and great achievement and many great, of course, aspects. So, before we head to that, tell us more about the first time you read a comic. Tell us more about the first comic book that you actually
Person.
had? Like, do you remember that?
Uh, I remember Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Arabic comic. I heard like Mickey Mouse in the school when I was a child,
Hmm.
and then I keep going like a Batman and
Hmm.
read about Batman. Batman story is not a simple story. It's a
Right.
lot, yeah, a lot
Yeah.
difficult.
More deep of a, let's say, story that people do actually, let's say, see in different kind of, let's say, visions
I agree.
and a different kind of, let's say, series and so on that was presented. But having that said, dealing with comics is something very important. People, especially when it comes into, let's say, people who read normal books, or let's say read any kind of, let's say, hard material subjects, they always see comics as a way of, it's more of a book that, let's say, a teenager could read, but they don't really look deep that this book could have many great meaningful messages and great, let's say, sense for everyone to actually enjoy and read. And presenting that, I mean, we started, as you just said, talking about Mickey Mouse, that was actually presented back in the days. I mean, we used to read these books and especially these stories, not thinking that we do really connect to them and relate to them, and it's really easier for us to see it. And then us, the generation that
Yeah,
these comics were created for, we actually grew in order for us to create more creative comics, in a sense, in a way.
yeah. Before you do a kids project like a student project, you need to think like a kid, like them.
Mm-hmm.
The kids they like colorful
Mm-hmm.
art, so it will track them. You need to see like what the kids do. You need to give them a meaning, like this things you're doing in wrong. You need to do it right by the story. And as I said, like yeah, I need to think as a kid,
Yeah,
like
yes,
them.
indeed, indeed. So today's generation are really challenging.
Of course.
We've seen so many development that happens in the industry, and especially when it comes even to books, and whether it's let's say a novel or a comic, we do have the challenge of letting them read. Today we live in a world that's in really fast, let's say, pace, that people wants to know within seconds. So how do you feel today's world challenge? Like, do you feel that we do have readers? Are we still having, let's say, fans of video games and comics and many great, of course, deals when it comes into the industry?
For now, yeah, some people they like digital books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my books all on website because this generation they like digital things. Even the video game, it has a story. So some people they like to learn more about this story.
Mm-hmm.
Some video games the story is not completed. They do it as a novel
Right.
or they do it as comics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people they're looking for this kind of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dealing with that, to be honest, I have my brother is really into games and video games, and I do really listen to him because it's only two of us. Like, he's my brother and I'm his sister, and that's it. So I really do hear him when he tells me about the character of the person in the video game, and he keeps telling me about how intelligent it is when it comes into, let's say, how realistic it is. And then we do have this kind of, let's say, discussion where, this. As you just said, that this game actually became more of a comic, and there is a series about it, and we do have that kind of let's say fun and community that people don't really know about. And today, in today's episode, we want to focus more about this community and telling the audience about it, because we've seen so many people who wants to reach, they want to, let's say, know more about it, but living alone, or let's say not having any friends that are really interested, is something challenging, like, in a way.
No, it has a lot of events in Kuwait, like Comic Con, some
Yes.
Comic Con Kuwait events, cosplayers or something like this. Or now it has a Discord for gaming, and they can discuss about anything. You
Mm-hmm.
can meet random people and voice chat with them, talking about whatever interests them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So,
what we do.
regarding the future, regarding the all of the development that we actually see, talking more about ChatGPT and different kind of, let's say, AI technology. Having that said, do you think that today we are facing the challenge of, let's say, stopping the creativity and not gonna, let's say, find it really, let's say, easy for a person, or let's say it's going to be very easier for a person? Like today, you said you had different kind of, let's say, obstacles, but for the future, do you believe these obstacles are going to be there, or you think they're going to, let's say, vanish?
No, it depends because I have a movie now. It's called The Dreamer. It's available on YouTube. I don't have a voice acting, so I use an AI.
Okay.
Yeah, I level up, but I can't say I'm a writer and I use ChatGPT. That's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people they say yeah I'm a writer and I use AI to write for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different thing, way
Right.
different. Or ghostwriter. Yeah, even some famous people they come to me. Can you ghostwrite for me for some
Mm-hmm.
books? Yeah, I ghostwrite for some people, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't say which books.
Yes, of course. But I mean, having that said, like, is it really like to me? I feel like it's an. I have to be the other person. Like, I have
Yeah.
to, let's say, be their mind and be their thoughts, and then create something. Like, is it difficult, or it's something like depends on you and where you see yourself in the story?
Depends where I see myself in the story.
So you
Yeah.
really get attached to the characters, let's say, in a way, or you feel like it's something that's could be separated in a way.
No, separate. I do book. I
Mm-hmm.
have separate this book. I put the character, what's gonna be mad or annoying every time annoying, or he's funny character, and
Mm-hmm.
how his color hair, he's male or
So you
female.
do more of a homework, a very big, let's say,
Yeah,
homework when it
and
comes into
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I can show you the script. Yeah, it's very difficult.
Oh my God, I really too agree with you on that. So you mentioned talking more about movies and creating a movie, which makes you, let's say, more of a filmmaker and also a writer for a movie itself. Now, being a comic writer is something, and then being a movie writer is something different, let's say. So tell us more about that and about your journey in it. Like, was it really difficult and different, or do you feel they complete each other?
I think they complete each other. The comic coming from the story, the
Mm-hmm.
movie coming from the story.
Yes.
Just a script, how
Mm-hmm.
you can write it based on
Mm-hmm.
what.
Yes.
Yeah, because the dreamers talk about the reality. Some people they fought with each other because they want to be better than
Mm-hmm.
other. Yeah, does it make sense? But this is reality. It happened.
Right, right. It do
Yeah,
really happen, of course, when it comes into our life and reality.
yeah.
One of the challenges that face a writer is creating and choosing the title,
Yeah.
whether it's for the movie, whether it's for the book, whether it's for a game. So when it comes into that, like, do you feel it's really challenging, or it's like easy for you, Mohammed, today when creating that?
No, it's very hard to be honest. Even sometimes I don't think about the title until the end of the script.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if I finish the script of the movie, I need to look for it.
For it, yeah,
Yeah,
which is
for the
something
title.
deep and really, let's say, difficult.
Yeah.
To me, you are doing something very great
Thank you
because
so
I
much.
really find it difficult for a person to find his thoughts and ideas and
Appreciate it.
publish them through words. So you're doing something great.
Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
very sure even our audience, let's say, are very proud and really eager for the upcoming, let's say, achievement that you managed and will manage to
I
do.
appreciate it.
So thank you very much for
Thank you
being our
so
guest
much. And
today.
thank you for Kuwait TV for supporting me and inviting me. Thank you.
So with that, dear viewers, we're going to continue for the wrap up. So stay tuned with us. So that was our guest, dear viewers. Hopefully, he was really inspiring for a lot of great achievers who would like to accomplish many great things. Dealing with video games is something very important, very powerful, and very challenging. And I'm very sure in today's episode, you learned that if you want to achieve many great things, you can achieve it by just holding a pen and a paper and be more creative.